In the 30 years since Earthbound's release, the rest of the world has been trying to catch up. Today, it is generally accepted as one of the great games, but at the time it was a failure. It befuddles me to read reviews from the 90s that willingly call its graphics bad and its gameplay simplistic because in the decade since, the look and vibe of Earthbound has been so thoroughly imitated by its ever-growing number of disciples that it has been retroactively made to feel, in my hands, almost new. But gamers then just didn't know what to make of it, and it's not hard to see why. Earthbound is invested in evoking unusual emotions in its players. It takes joy in angering, confusing, and beguiling the poor people who donate their time to playing it. But that's not just a prank, rather it is ultimately in service of a profound experience that demands that wide spectrum of emotional reactions to clear out the brush for it to safely land. It is keenly aware, especially for its time, of the multifaceted artistic potential of games, even if consumers were not. Pair all that with a deeply ill-conceived Western marketing campaign and so few North Americans bought copies that today loose cartridges go for $500 and I'll never own a physical copy unless you donate to my Patreon. Of course, we already know that by now it has become well appreciated and remarkably influential, the fingers of its design and personality reaching into countless modern titles that expand and explore similar ideas in fresh, compelling ways. So, understanding Earthbound is the key to understanding so much of what has followed in the decade since. Unfortunately, and thankfully, Earthbound resists being understood. It is so rich in strangeness, so inscrutable in certain places despite its clarity in others, so simultaneously hidden and revealed are its secrets, that finding one answer to it is an impossible task. Here I am, though, throwing my hat into the ring regardless, because talking about Earthbound is just too much fun. It is a story that is as often cheerful as it is melancholy, a story that smoothly shifts its scope between modest and monumental, and a game that despite the pain, decides to let hope shine through. I'm aware that Earthbound is already among the most written about games ever made, and by proposing my own interpretations today, I am not saying that previous writing was inadequate, nor my analysis definitive, just that I, perhaps self-indulgently, would like to add what I can. The shape of Earthbound's crystal is fine and complex, the sort of prism that with the slightest shift in perspective will produce an entirely new and beautiful pattern on the wall. So here's what I see. Welcome to Reconstructed. Full spoilers ahead for Earthbound, and the 1959 novel The Sirens of Titan. Also, warning for flashing lights and repeating patterns. There is one particularly intense section which I will give another verbal warning for when we get there. While not as extreme, the typical battle animations and backgrounds shown throughout the video may also be difficult for those with photosensitivity. There is an audio-only version of the video up for free on my Patreon page. We begin at night. A crashing sound outside awakens our protagonist. He jumps out of bed, ready to investigate, donning a striped shirt and baseball cap. Navigating up some grassy cliffs and around some cops doing nothing, he discovers that a meteorite has struck the top of the hill and sits there smoldering. A neighbor kid has come to see as well, but a police roadblock sends both of them home before they can get too close. This boy's name is Ness, at least by default. When creating a new file, the player is asked to name all 4 party members before they even have any idea of their role in the story. Ness is the primary protagonist and, typical for the genre, does not speak. However, he is not intended as a one-to-one avatar for the player either. He has some personality traits, but they are left to be inferred from NPC dialogue and combat mechanics rather than shown directly. For example, both his mother and a cop outside say there's no point trying to stop him from exploring as he'll just find a way to do it anyway. Therefore, he is brave and curious, and perhaps not inclined to respect authority. Further information about who he is and how he feels is drip-fed quite slowly throughout the game, and a full picture, while sketched, is never painted. Especially at the start, I wouldn't blame anyone for seeing him as a blank slate.